It's been 224 long, hard days since Sydney last stepped foot onto the Melbourne cricket ground. Tonight, Longmire's men will descend upon the arena hoping like hell to overcome their grand final day demons.
The best team of the modern era produces its masterpiece.
After 2 defeats in a row, the pressure is on the red and white to rediscover the ruthless footy that they made their names playing. But it'll be Swans Premiership coach Paul Roos who'll be looking to stretch Sydney's lean streak out to 3. The Demons have shown glimpses of tough, hard football. Some could even say reminiscent of Roos's Swans in 05 and 06. But tonight's a different beast against a Sydney side with a point to prove. So let's rejoice alongside 2 spirited football sides on a night where we celebrate those special women who mean the world to us.
What a beautiful night in Melbourne. Stunning scenes, and the MCG looks absolutely superb. Pink everywhere. Breast Cancer Network Australia, Sam, and the build-up to this game is one of the highlights of the year for me.
It absolutely is. That's Marlisa singing of X-Fame Factor. Guys, this is a night where people come to remember loved ones past, people who are sick, and raise awareness and money for the cause of breast cancer. Do you know 15,500 women will be diagnosed in Australia this year, and 145 odd men. Most people survive, that's the good news, but we can't do enough to raise awareness.
Have a look at that shot there. That's live now here at the MCG.
They're beautiful pictures.
Yep. Great initiative from Melbourne Football Club. I think the former president, Paul Gardner, might have been the driving force behind this. And now it's just become, Mick, a really nice part of the calendar.
It's one of the marquee nights in the AFL calendar. It's time to think about things other than just football, and it's magnificent. Hats off to the AFL and everyone involved.
Here come the Sydney Swans, and they are, Richo, well, not in great form. It's an interesting call to say that. They've had a couple of losses in a row, and they'll be pretty steely about wanting to win this one tonight.
Absolutely, Das. They don't lose 3 in a row very often in recent memory, that's for sure. Some big ins for them tonight. Benny McGlynn is a quality small forward. Sam Reid comes back into the team. He adds a little bit of depth to that forward line. He can play up the ground now as well. And for Melbourne, 3 ins for them also. The interesting one there is Billy Stretch, the son of former great in the 80s and early 90s, Stephen Stretch.
And I just wonder how Goodsey will handle that sub thing. It'll be really interesting to watch his body language tonight. Hey, let's go down to the room. Simon Goodwin, the senior assistant coach, is down there for the Melbourne Football Club, and he's with Lingy.
Well, Goody, you're playing against another premiership contender tonight like you did last week. What did you learn from the Freo game?
Oh, we just know that if we don't sort the contest out, that we really can't compete. And that was the really disappointing thing last week, was around the ball, the stoppages, the contested ball fell away, and our whole game fell away. So that's a real focus for us tonight.
The boys are going through the action behind you at the moment. Pretty exciting, a father-son for the club in his first game. Billy Stretch, what can you tell us about him?
Yeah, look, he's exciting, Billy. He's a really diligent kid. He plays his role. He will look probably a little bit small out there, but he's not scared to get in there and win the ball, and we're looking forward to big things from Billy.
Can you sense before a game, you're playing against a team like Sydney, that these guys, they have the belief that they can take a big scalp and knock off the Swans?
They're certainly gaining belief, and, you know, this is a big step forward for us as a footy club to play well against a team that's going to be right up the top this year and put in a really solid performance.
Really appreciate your time, mate. All the best tonight.
Thanks,
Thanks, Goody.
Senior coach in waiting is Simon Goodwin, and as BT pointed out, Adam Goods in the sub-vest. Last time he did that, he said, I'd rather play in the NEFL and the reserves and put me in the sub-vest. Well, he's back in it tonight, Richo, as Nathan Jones leads his side out onto the MCG.
Yeah, they were very, very disappointed last week. Nathan Jones commented in the press that they were embarrassed by what they served up. So I reckon it'll be pretty hot early here tonight. Chris Dawes comes back into the team to add a little bit of depth. Interesting, everyone always talks about Jack Watts. How's he going to perform tonight? A lot of talk about him during the week, and they're going to want to perform well. This is a showcase game for Melbourne, and they really want to put up a good performance tonight.
And just in that other game that we touched on before, just want to confirm final scores, guys. GWS have beaten Hawthorn by 10 points. It's a huge result.
Wow. Gee, it's a tight comp, isn't it? Anyone can beat anyone on any given day, and if Sydney don't come to play tonight, Melbourne can win. No doubt about
they
it.
have to be a genuine chance tonight. Melbourne Paul Roos knows the Sydney Swans well. We've got a special night coming up. It's Mother's Day Eve, and we are live at the MCG.
staggering statistic that's come to my attention is that 42 women in Australia every day get diagnosed with breast cancer.
You realise how many people it actually affects, and just to create awareness through what we do every week is fantastic.
We really are taking the lead in all of Australian sport. It's an amazing match to be a part of.
For those wanting to get behind the cause, call now or visit the website at bcna.org.au.
Spectacular night in Melbourne, and the MCG is looking at its absolute best. And don't forget to donate tonight. A great cause, and plenty of people outside the G as well as inside the G. The players have had their contribution there as they come to middle.
We've got Frank doing the toss tonight. Jared, your call. Heads is the call. And tails it is. All right, lads, all the best.
Umpires Dean Margetts, Robert Finlay and David Harris, the men involved tonight. Nate Jones, the captain of the Demons. They do need to respond, Richo, after, well, I guess a poor showing against a really good side last week.
Yeah, they did. They played poorly. They didn't compete the way that they wanted to, and they've been talking about it all week. So I would expect them to come out and be really competitive early, which they have been early in most games this year. They've been really good. So I think tonight they'll be on early.
And Lingy, the Swans would be really stung by what they copped from the Western Bulldogs last week as well.
Yeah, BT, I think that's the unfortunate thing for the Demons. I reckon this Sydney team will be filthy with what they did last week. They backed themselves up there at the SCG in the wet to have knocked off the Dogs. The Dogs very good, but Swans, they pride themselves on being able to win those games. So I reckon they'll come out really fired up in this first 10 minutes. They'll be fierce in the contest. They'll be looking to put a real statement on this game early on and hopefully just squash any belief that this Melbourne team have. But if Melbourne can match them early, you never know, their belief might grow throughout the game.
And Jamar not selected in the Melbourne lineup tonight. It surprised me. I'm not sure what sort of form he has been in, but, you know, he's a good quality big man.
Yeah, it's a surprising omission, BT. That man there, Jakey Spencer, is his replacement, and I'm told from people in Melbourne that his VFL form has been so dominant, he just simply knocked the door down. Not that Jamar was going that bad. They just had to put Jake Spencer in, so a big opportunity for that man tonight.
We believe he played for Casey, out at Casey today. Mark Jamar went okay, was the word out there. All right, we're ready to get it underway here at the MCG. Saturday night football, Melbourne and Sydney. Should be a good game. Kennedy, one of the stars. He'll have to be watched closely. Spencer and Pike in the middle, and immediately Parker onto the boot and already down towards the forward end of the ground for the Swans. Reid, Hanbury around the corner, under some pressure, and now Lyndon Dunn.
Yeah, I reckon Daniel Cross has gone to Hanbury. Hanbury in career best form, so Crossy will be looking to play him tight.
Great attack on the footy, Jesse Hogan. It was a risky kick from Dunn, but they have got some reward here. A bit of space, Salem. The runner is Spencer, the man we spoke about. Hasn't played since round 5 last year. McDonald, really exciting young player. Oh, hit him in the face, Kennedy Harris. Just must have lost it in the lights. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but disappointing result. The kick was perfect, and now they're scrambling hard. And that was an old-fashioned foul. And Jay Kennedy Harris hit a flush on the nose.
It just got there quicker than he thought. Jay got the hands up, just straight through. Just got on him a little bit quicker than he thought. Good ball movement, though, from Melbourne. From half-back to inside 50 BT.
Thumbs together, the big W behind the footy there, Richard. I won't hit you in the nose.
Teach them at Oz kick, BT. Get the W, the thumbs together.
Yep.
The juke's out. He looks bigger, Jake. He looks in good shape. Big Jake Spencer.
There's Jones. He'll be pursued and harassed all night. They'll understand that he's a major part of what they do, the Swans.
Can't wait to watch the Tom McDonald, Lance Franklin matchup. You can see there just on the left of your screen. That's the key jewel of the night.
Opportunity here. Umpire, you heard, call play on, Buddy Franklin. And an opportunity for the Demons to get it off to a very, very nice start indeed. And a miss by Newton. And interesting that 6 games in Melbourne today, gents. That has not happened since before Dustin Fletcher debuted back in '92, Richo. 6 games in Melbourne, unheard. Sorry, 6 games on a Saturday, unheard of.
Yeah, we have not had that, as you said, for 23 years, and gee, that shows you how long Fletcher's been around, doesn't it?
Tom Mitchell, man with a footy. He's a ball magnet, that young man, at 30 possessions last week. Keen to get a permanent spot in the side. Hard-footed to be won. And a man who does it better than just about anyone can. He couldn't quite get possession on that occasion. The Demons go forward again. Attack on the footy from Hogan. He's got slick hands. And now the runner is Newton. Awkward bouncing footy inside 50. The Swans' defence are really well organised. The skipper McVeigh over the top. McGlynn back in the side. And pretty nice start for Melbourne. They've had a bit of the footy. They look pretty composed and have got themselves into the contest, Richard.
Yeah, they're in the contest early. There's the other big jewel of the night, Lyndon Dunn and Kurt Tippett. Tippett only 7 goals from 5 games, so I reckon he'd be eyeing a bag off tonight. He needs to hit the scoreboard a little bit more, helps Franklin out.
Yeah, and out of those 6 games today, some remarkable results. The Saints from 55 points down 4 minutes into the 3rd quarter, and the GWS have just had a remarkable victory over the Hawks.
How do you tip, BT, if you're in a tipping comp? It's just so hard at the moment.
Yep.
It's great. That's what we need in this competition.
It's tight, and it is fantastic for all of those clubs. The Saints, after an unlucky loss last week. Here's Franklin, the superstar, 675 goals. He kicks 5 tonight. He's halfway to where Plugger got to in the end. Think about that. As now we see Parker harassed by Garland, Reid in there. Tippett thought about going and realised his teammate Parker was already there. Lyndon Dunn scrapping, and now Lumumba. Newton, quick hands, Vince towards the boundary line. Pike gives chase along with Spencer, and he got there nice and early. Gary Rowan in amongst it. Great handball. Pike all of a sudden gets a look from the forward pocket, and he does very, very nicely.
So important you defend in a game of footy, but you have to be smart with your defensive decisions. Just 2 Melbourne players, both rushing at Gary Rowan there. Left Mike Pike free. Important, one player nails the tackle, the other player nails the receiver.
Mike Pike's first goal of the year, and that hurts.
On the ball.
So it'll be Melbourne free kick here. This man, Angus Brayshaw, he loves tackle pressure. He's a tackling specialist, and it's no mean feat in your first season. Jeremy Laidler has the footy. Intercept mark was on, and now Jetta. He'll try and get moving as he likes to do. Grundy, they link up pretty well here, the Swans' defence. Now forced into a bit of a slower play. Jetta.
Hold there, Dom, hold, Dom.
Again, he looks up, and there's one-on-ones everywhere. We know Paul Roos coaches that way, Richo.
Yeah, he does, and it's hard to have to go wide. They had nothing. That's a real win for Melbourne, out of bounds.
That's a big win, isn't it? He forced Jetta into a kick he didn't want to take, and he put it out of bounds on the full.
Now they've got one-on-ones inside forward 50. You just got to get it in there quick now.
Dawes and Garland and Newton. Figured prominently already Newton. Here's Garland, just a little chip sideways, so they're also having trouble finding a way through the Demons, being pushed back here at the moment by the Sydney squeeze. Lyndon Dunn, this needs to be perfect, and it is. Lumumba had it in the Dukes, but he couldn't hang on to it. Reid's handball slightly astray. Hanbury's got to go back and do it again. All over him there on that occasion was Stretch, the first gamer. Now Brayshaw wide and finds an opportunity with Tumpus. Vandenberg got it inside. Tackle again on Stretch, and he was dispossessed. Pike put his ample body over the top and tried to wriggle it out. In the end, not successful.
So Melbourne love to play a high stoppage game. But they've just been really struggling to score from those stoppages so far this year. So from this situation here, if they win this clearance, they really need to get some run and spread from it.
Welcome to AFL football. Billy Stretch on debut, straight on to Dan Hanbury, son of former champion and best and fairest winner Stephen Stretch. Bernie Vince hacks this one forward. Hogan, a competitive animal, the one-on-one, brought it to ground. Doors back in, couldn't keep his feet.
It's a smooth mover, Stephen Stretch, wasn't he?
He was classy, wasn't he?
Guys, I think it's a sense of the way the game's going to be played. Already 19 tackles laid in this game, and we're only 7 minutes in, so it's going to be a physical one. It's going to be important to win it in close, but as you said, Richo, one-on-ones everywhere, so that means when Melbourne win the ball, they can almost go blindly forward because they know they've got one-on-ones forward of the footy.
And the forwards want that, Mingy. Just a one-on-one chance.
Great little kick out of nothing there. Brayshaw did well. Laidler just whacks it onto the boot, bends it back in the Franklin direction, but well done in front, Salem.
Dawes made a good lead there.
Salem into some space. Hooked away on that occasion by Rampy. Now Grundy. McVeigh back there as well. And I don't think they're going to get out here, Sydney. They've, as you've already pointed out, one-on-ones everywhere, and they're forced to kick small and tight inside that defensive 50. There's not a lot on long unless that happens. You present up. McGlynn did well. Heaney now. Back into the side.
Hold, Lyndon, hold!
This week for Sydney, little chip. They've had to work up the ground, though, these players. McVeigh now looks for Franklin. How did he get that space from McDonald?
Well, it's one-on-one footy, and they moved the ball pretty quickly around that outer wing, and Franklin just had too much room to work in.
Well, the journey's no problem here for Buddy.
I reckon he almost prefers this side of the ground, though, BT, which is
I do too.
Strange for a left footer. He'll kick it now, though, of course.
Been pretty efficient this year in the set shot department. Distance is really going to test him here. Got it to the line, but
he'd enjoy being back on the MCG. First game for the year here for the Swans. He won't get many opportunities now, so I reckon he'll really enjoy running around out here tonight, buddy.
Let's go, Lyndon.
You hear the umpire saying, let's go, Lyndon. Let's get it back into play. He's going to go a barrel if you don't mind, and he's got a nice piece of it too. Lyndon done to Bernie Vince. What about that for a play? Bernie's been smashed. The wind taken out of him by Kurt Tippett.
Back behind your mark, Bernie.
Tell you what, I like the look of what Melbourne have done in the early stage of this game. They're really switching the play. They're taking more risks than we've seen. That's a really risky kick with Buddy involved. And you saw Bernie Vince just intent on playing on now. How he's got to chase down Jetta, maybe the fastest player in the game, Lewis Jetta. Pretty good combination when you link up with Buddy. They worked a nice one too. The Swans are streaming down inside 50, not Jetta's best kick. And a few numbers back here now. Bernie Vince will get a second crack at it. And I think the man in his sights is Cam Pedersen, and that's a beautifully weighted kick.
Yeah, it was. Nice kick from Bernie. So what does Pedersen do here? Down the line is covered. And now finding a little bit of space, and Tumpus slots in there nicely. The middle's on if he wants. Jones is there and Brayshaw's over the top.
Yeah, they've
got
the
handball.
Real chance here now.
The run of Vince. Just a little squaring kick. Nice little ball. Really well done to Vandenberg, and may well be within range. Vandenberg immediately goes out wide to Howe. Howe corralled there by Heaney, and a nice kick. A really nice kick under some pressure to stretch, and the young man here has an opportunity to become...
So here's the Bernie Vince hit, former teammates at the Adelaide Crows, Tippett and Vince.
Boys on the side, Isaac.
And good work by Jeremy Howe, showed some composure. They've shown really good transition a couple of times now, Melbourne. Bruce would be happy with that.
So here he is, Billy Stretch, pick 42. Played senior footy at Glenelg, and now he's got a shot from about 35 out, and he's made it look pretty easy. He'd be excited. His teammates are really excited for him as well. First goal in footy. Well, he kicks the goal, Stretch, and then...
They get around him.
They get around him, but he immediately comes off the ground. I'm just not sure. First game, first goal, leave him there.
Yeah, you'd be feeling confident. Predetermined rotations, I think, now, Brian, though. Doesn't matter if you've kicked a goal.
Come on,
Climb back on.
Well, that's where the game's moved to. I don't agree with it necessarily. I'm with you.
It does look really comfortable out there, doesn't he? The first game of Billy Stretch. And congratulations to him. Here comes the kick from McVeigh. That was perfect. And Tom Mitchell worked really hard. He's a ball magnet, this man. Outside 50, half fancies his chances. Dangerous ball to the goal square. McDonald through his hands.
That's a goal.
Has he kicked it just on the line? He likes it, Tippett. He has. There's the Swans second.
So there we go. That ball landed a metre out. It should have been spoilt through, and that's just a goal that the Swans shouldn't have got. Well done, Kurt Tippett, though. He was alert and pounced on it.
Melbourne.
It looked like Melbourne had conceded that it was going to be a bounce through behind in the end, and
just relaxed.
Yeah, they did. Spencer to Jones. Jones immediately to the northern side to Lumumba.
Hold Isaac.
Here to Lumumba. Brayshaw offers a lead wide. That's the direction he's going to go. Good hands, no. Let it go, Brayshaw in the end. Reed now, Pike. Hannonbury got Franklin in the air. Lumumba will do well here. Look out, easing him under the foot. He loves this spot here, buddy. Thought about Heaney, went to Tippett instead. Now it's Tippett and Dunn. Who's holding who? Went for another soccer there, did Tippett. He'll need to get rid of it. It's pinned under. And we will have a ball up.
Thank you. You're both doing it.
I feel like it's a big night for Kurt Tippett tonight. He's only kicked the 7 goals, Richo, in the first 5 games. He got a bit of a gift just before, and not in great form at the moment, Kurt Tippett. Keen to capitalise tonight. Nathan Jones having to backpedal. Here's the first game of Billy Stretch, and nice composure again from him.
Yeah, I think you're right, Dust. The Swans obviously lost a couple of games in a row, and they haven't hit their straps as yet this year. And Franklin and Tippett haven't quite got the combination going as they had most of last year yet.
Dunn's kick in was in the Newton direction over his head. Colin Garland might have had his head taken high, and no free kick doing. In fact, it's gone the other way. In fact, that was Tukas under there.
Lewis Jetta.
My apologies. Free kick for Lewis Jetta.
Jetta. Backwards Grundy. So here they go with the transfer, Sydney. Rampy. Reed comes at him. That's ignored. Good left foot kick is Rampy. Penetrating run, long ball. Tippett at the back. Got his body in front and did well.
Yeah. You got it, Harrow. I got it. Go save it. Yeah.
And Tippett will have the free.
Right out. Take the point. Push out. Kurt.
Yeah, just, I don't...
Straight back.
He just lost contact with Kurt Tippett there, Lyndon Dunn. He didn't know where he was, and he just panicked a little bit.
Got him in the choker hold.
Yeah, he did.
Tried to throw him.
Yeah, Tippett snuck in from behind, and Lyndon Dunn lost touch on him.
Unusual sort of warm-up there by Tippo. And here he goes from about 35 metres. We're right behind him, riding this one all the way. For a 13-point lead. Tippett is very good. So we've had a bit of a soft review going on while this has been happening here. Lyndon Dunn says he touched it off.
He's adamant he touched it, Lyndon Dunn. He's remonstrating. Look, he cannot believe it, Lyndon Dunn.
And the reviewers have given him nothing to us.
They did have a look at it, but it was couldn't tell from the pictures we saw.
2 in a row to Tippett then, and Swans open up a little 13-point lead. Isaac Heaney, high-quality young player. Howe goes back with a fly, got in front of McLean, and that was a timely fist from Jeremy Howe. Put himself in the right position at the right time, and I feel like they've had a better start than the scoreboard would suggest. Melbourne, they've had a lot of the footy, they've had a fair bit of it in their forward half of the ground, but just a couple of errors have cost them goals. Lloyd, Kennedy so powerful through the hips. Daniel Cross, he met him full on and forced him back. Now Lloyd gets a bit of time and a bit of space. That normally spells danger. Tippett's got a head of steam up at the moment. This is when he's at his best.
Mine, pin straight away. Thank you.
You heard the umpire saying mine, pin straight away, and Christian Salem couldn't get the footy out.
1 metre, boys. Come on, keep the separation. Thank you.
Dean Margetts talking to the players there, wanting that separation.
Touch ball, touch.
That was Stretch with his second touch there. And happy to concede over the line was Tyson. The coaches tonight, Johnny Longmire. Of course, he has a bit of history at this ground as Johnny Longmire. He one of only 2 players to kick 14 goals here, Richo. Who was the other one?
Gary Ablett Senior.
Did it twice.
I was here one of the days he kicked 14.
Yeah. Rowan couldn't quite hang on to that one. Kennedy tried to bust his way through. Jones confronted by Tippett now. Look at the pressure Sydney are applying.
Not yours, not yours.
Melbourne will get the free as a result.
Billy Stretch has been good. He's been in amongst the action. As you guys mentioned, he kicked his first goal in AFL footy in his first game with his first kick, but I've loved the fact he's just had a crack in the contest, got his knees dirty, and he's a smart player too. Really promising start.
She's McDonald. He tried to take on Gary Rowan, and that, with Rowan's leg speed, was always going to be an ambitious task. Rowan once holding the footy. You heard the explanation there. He got a handball away to Tom McDonald and just
take the 1 metre.
Just
right here, boys. Come on.
The benefit of the doubt. Big Pike puts his frame in front of Spencer. Nathan Jones, we know how hard that man goes at it. Good tackle applied by Mitchell. Swans have really got some resolve about that. That's almost a rugby-style kick from the former Canadian international, Mike Pike. Kennedy, Brayshaw, he's a tackling specialist, as I said earlier. Now they're going to go forward again through Parker. Lumumba sets himself for it and stood up pretty nicely.
Yeah.
Heratia.
Was not an easy mark to take, that one. It was curling away from him when he had to mark it. Good mark. Under pressure.
Have a look at those inside 50s mounting up in favour of Sydney. They need an entry here, Melbourne. They've haven't had it deep for a few minutes.
Yeah, they've just been breaking down at this point here. They can't get any transition. They got a couple early in the game, but just the last 5 minutes have been stopped around here.
Tyson to the wing, but standing in the way, Laidler, Grundy and McVeigh all lining up here now. McVeigh's kick to the 50, Rowan, Salem. Lumumba under immediate Parker pressure. Great tackle by Luke Parker.
Josh Kennedy having a rest down at full forward. Got Jeremy Howe on him.
He's hurt his shoulder, Lumumba there. He's got the classic hold of the arm, whether it's just a little stinger or whether it's something more. Immediately, Parker wants contact with him as a result of that. Kennedy did well, almost marked. Out the back is McDonald. Takes him on again. This time didn't get rid of it. Wanted the high tackle, McGlynn. I think the umpire was right in not awarding it. Salem and now Newton. Reed. Melbourne cracking in, and they'll need to here. Opportunity in there for Vandenberg. Once again at the bottom of it is Jeddah. Franklin. Melbourne forcing it up the ground. Eventually Rampy gets hold of it and sends it back inside 50. Well done, Jeremy Howe, with the spoil. And they'll be happy with the boundary line, but they're not making any ground at Melbourne.
No, they've been trapped in Sydney's forward half now for 6 or 7 entries in a row.
That was a bit high.
Tough for the Swans to score, though. A lot of numbers back, and what often happens here, the Melbourne can get a transition and score. They haven't been in for a while.
Swans the last 2 weeks, Richo, have only scored from 17% of their inside 50s. It's the second worst in the AFL. And I feel like they're trying to rejig their forward setup at the moment. They've got talent everywhere. They've got Buddy, they've got Tippett. Goods is the sub tonight. He's trying something a little different. Joey Kennedy, we just saw, they push forward and just trying to work out how to get that quality and that talent working well together. It's just not quite firing at the moment.
Benny McGlynn back in tonight. He's obviously playing up forward.
So this is Jake Spencer and Pike. We call their names a lot tonight. Pike won it down the Parker direction, and Heaney's just always been clean. That looked like a bit of a throw. Play on's the call, and Garland tumbled a kick forward. They just feel like they're in the right place at the right time. Sydney everywhere at the moment. The kick hung in the air a little bit, but the All-Australian half-back from last year, Nick Smith, was able to take it comfortably.
Yeah, Grundy got an opportunity out here now. Lloyd back inside.
Hold, Cam, hold.
Shaw.
Big Spencer is back inside 50, so they can't really go in. Here he is.
Tippett got a good run at that, didn't he? Melbourne haven't been inside since the stretch goal some 10 minutes ago. Tippett lines up for his third and the third consecutive Sydney goal.
Well, Spencer there, he'll be flat with that. He is back there to come third man in, and he probably had to make better of that spoil. He shouldn't have let Tippett mark that.
15 seconds, thanks, Kurt.
Got the thumbs behind that. Have a look at that. That is classic.
It's a coaching course there, BT.
That is textbook. Duke stuff. Tippett looking for goal number 3, and he's nailed that one. 3 in a row for Sydney, 3 in a row for Tippett.
This was a little bit earlier. Chris Dawes chasing after Dane Rampy. Just pulled up a little bit proppy after that. He spent the last 5 or 6 minutes on the bench. You see his right knee was heavily strapped. Just come back out on the ground, though, to test it out a bit, but he's not comfortable at all with that knee.
So they really need a response here. And Vandenberg drives them forward. Brayshaw, love the way that man attacks the footy. Rampy did pretty well from behind.
He played every game, Brayshaw.
Thanks, boys. Thanks, boys.
So far this year.
Come back.
Averages 6 tackles a game. He loves the competitive aspect. He loves feeling a bit of body on body, and they need a lot of it at the moment because they're doing it at will at the moment. The Swans. Reed links up to Jeddah. The outside run, and Gary Rowan was there. They're lining up everywhere. McVeigh. Kennedy playing as a genuine forward at the moment. Lyndon Dunn, the matchup. McDonald. Haven't called Franklin's name a hell of a lot at the moment. It's all been Tippett. We know he's kicked the last 3 goals. More issues here. Garland. Well, what about that? He's kicked it sideways Sure, it wasn't what he intended to do. The umpire's going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Thought he might have played deliberate there. He didn't. Gary Rowan's only had 2 disposals, but he's playing a half-forward role, and he's really hitting up at the football, and the stat sheet is not showing the work he's doing at the moment. He's making space behind him for this man, Tippett.
Holding the ball, Melbourne.
Yeah, took it out of the ruck.
There, Kurt.
They're just not giving them any time, Sydney. Melbourne just, I can't remember them having a clean possession other than the first 2 or 3 minutes of the game. Centre wing, Richards did really well against Hogan, who's been unsighted in these opening 24 minutes. Shaw now, great buy he's been for Sydney. Supplied plenty for them in his time there. McVeigh, game 249 tonight.
Stay up behind.
249 games for Jared McVeigh.
So it's 14 minutes now since Melbourne had an inside 50.
Extraordinary stuff there. Heaney.
Man, Sydney. Come on, Heaney. You grabbed his arms.
Isaac Heaney. Neither of those players knew they had the free. Heaney now, long way out, sends it high again. Tippett's under this one, won't get there. And getting back to take the mark and doing well was Pedersen.
Ben McGlynn, right here.
Play a similar style of game, these two sides. Paul Roos's influence at the Sydney Swans. They like one-on-one footy and predictable, and they love the contest. But at the moment, the Swans are just doing it with a lot more class. Hogan really struggling to find a way into this game. Richards playing him from in front. Jedd's had some nice moments. They'll go back inside 50 again. It's an onslaught at the moment. And on that occasion, Pedersen stood tall.
Yeah, Pedersen is in the ruck at the moment. Spencer off the ground. He's done well, gone back and taken 2 marks.
Dom Tyson.
They're just a bit stagnant here now. They haven't been able to get any handball receives through that half-back area and any run. It's all kick mark at the moment.
And now really second-guessing themselves. Tyson had to go with the non-preferred right, and that was awful. It's going to come back again.
Spot on, Richo, just flat-footed. Here goes McGlynn. This is beautiful to Buddy. Really good, and that might be 50 as well.
That's what happens when you turn the ball over 80 metres out like that. There's always going to be forwards out the back.
So Buddy, as I mentioned before, 675 goals. 5 goals tonight, and he'll be halfway to Plugger's record. And 6 goals, and he joins Bob Pratt in the 22nd overall greatest goal kicker in our game.
Bob Pratt kicked 150 one year, Bristol, and didn't win a BNF.
That's extraordinary.
How does that happen? Apparently the committee said you just didn't do enough.
Franklin, and always tough. I reckon the closer in you are, and you talk about the goals last night we saw missed in the game there, the closer in, the more straight you have to be onto the boot, because there's no time for the ball to have its natural arc.
Yeah, and the posts are really high as well.
Having said that, probably shouldn't miss.
Probably from
2
15 out, you would think that you'd like your chance. It's some horrid kicking this round.
But today, even down in Hobart, the shots missed last night. Goal kicking, it's getting worse.
It's reached, I feel, but it's, I don't know what you think, Lingy, but I feel it's reached fever point. It's almost dominating the game, the lack of set-shot goal kicking.
It's almost contagious, isn't it? We're talking about it that much. Players are worrying about it even more, and it's creating more of a headache for some players in front of goal.
Sydney by 20 points. Little kick around the corner here for Brayshaw, and he's been prominent early, but it was all Sydney. Kirk Tippett kicked 3 in a row. He's got 3 for the game. Sydney lead it by 20 points, 4-3-27 to the Demons, 1-1-7.